Welcome. Today I will be covering the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Iceberg. If you don't know what an iceberg is pretty much a giant trivia sheet with the most commonly known facts about a certain topic at the top of the iceberg, and going down all the way to the bottom is the least known facts by the population of that community. So today we will be talking about the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Iceberg. Of course, this iceberg is created by me, so we have a good amount of entries to cover and some very fun facts to share. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Tenkaichi 4. Tenkaichi 4 is obvious. We all know Tenkaichi 4. It's not its official name at the time of this recording. However, about 3 weeks ago, we all got teased the world reveal of Budokai Tenkaichi 4. To say it spurred up a little bit of hype is an understatement. 150 plus characters. 150 plus characters is of course referring to Budokai Tenkaichi 3's roster that has an impressive 150 plus characters on it, including transformations, but those transformations fight differently than the other characters and their base forms, so I count them. Tenkaichi 4 mod. Tenkaichi 4 mod is referring to the Budokai Tenkaichi 4 mod made by a community. This is a non-paid product that they made just purely out of passion for Tenkaichi 3, and this was of course before Tenkaichi 4 was announced. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this project, if they'll keep working on it or not, or maybe they'll change the name to Budokai Tenkaichi 3.5 or something like that. Whatever happens though, this mod, I hope it keeps getting updated because it's a great mod. Goku Mid. Yeah, Goku Mid. This is referring to Namek Goku's name inside of Budokai Tenkaichi 3, where his name is actually Goku Mid. Saiyan Saga is called Goku Early, and then Goku End is Buu Saga and Cell Saga Goku. Best DBZ game. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is often referred to as the best DBZ game by many DBZ fans, and for very good reason. All the characters, stages, the great story mode, the charm this game has is insurmountable, and even the level of customization is pretty in-depth. PCSX2 and Dolphin. PCSX2 and Dolphin is referring to the emulators that people use to play this game. It's 2023, most people are not playing this game on the PS2 or Wii anymore, so of course they're going to resort to emulators. And with the power of these emulators, modding the game is infinitely easier. There's really no reason to play them on the original hardware other than for nostalgia. Transformation animations. This is referring to, of course, the transformations in this game. More specifically, the Great Apes. In Budokai Tenkaichi 2, if you transformed into a Great Ape, it would just be a power-up. However, in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, he actually has an animation going Great Ape, and this goes for all Great Apes in the game, and of course for better, because some of those animations are badass. Random World Tournament. Random World Tournament is referring to the tournament mode of the game, where every single time you enter it, the hour on the clock on the screen will go up by 1, and when you enter at a certain time, a certain tournament will be open. In Budokai Tenkaichi 3, there's about 6 different tournaments with varying rules. Whenever you open the tournament, a random one will be selected and a random difficulty will be selected as well. This is used for unlocking characters and getting Zenny. It is kind of dumb how the difficulty is selected by default, but you know, it's still a really cool feature. Red Patara. Red Patara is of course referring to the password system of this game. If you remember Budokai 3 having a password system, you could use this to unlock some secret characters. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 has a very similar thing where there's passwords in the game, and if you enter those passwords in, you get a very powerful version of one of the game's characters. Not only will they have a bajillion health, they'll have a huge stat increase, they'll have like super armor, the characters are a lot faster. Very cool feature. What If Scenario. The What If Scenario is referring to the game's Dragon History mode, aka the story mode. There's a scenario in that story called What If Scenario. This of course is what it says. It has a bunch of what if scenarios on what would happen at various points in the series. This is a very cool idea for a story mode, and unfortunately it has not really returned since maybe Xenoverse 2. Dokkan active skills. Well, listen for yourself.
He told me that I was to protect the Earth now! Who can do it? Dad! My father saved me! And he said you weren't going to get away with this! He told me that I was to protect the Earth now! What? His power is increasing!
Battle damage. Battle damage is referring to when you get hit by an ultimate that has a cutscene or you lose a beam struggle, your character's outfit will actually change, and their outfit will be completely ripped and shredded, and there's actually blood on some of the characters, which is really cool. It's kind of lame how you can't select these costumes normally, because characters like Shirtless Goku are not playable, so you can't really reenact the fight with Frieza. Goku Mid does have his third costume, which is sort of similar to the one he fought Frieza in, but it's not the same thing. Main menu. The main menu is referring to, of course, the main menu, where every time you hover over an icon, one of the 4 characters on the main menu screen will talk. So every time you hover over an icon, you'll get some new dialogue every single time.
You can participate in various tournaments. I wonder if the world champion heard. You can participate in various. Their dad'll probably.
This prevents redundancy and makes going to the main menu a very fun task. This game has a lot of charm to it, and something that I also hope returns to Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Blue health. Blue health is referring to after you pass over 6 health bars, you'll start getting blue health to substitute the green health and the cap on health bars. The blue health is inaccessible by normal means, other than if you use the King Kai's training item on a character with 4 health bars, then you're actually able to get 1 bar of blue health legitly, but this is the only way outside of Red Patara characters. The blue health is a very cool feature, and something I wish you could just set on in versus mode, like akin to Budokai 2, for example, on the GameCube. Future Gohan. Future Gohan is referring to, of course, Future Gohan inside of Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and the fact that he fights with 2 arms, but he acts like he has 1 arm. Every single one of Future Gohan's attacks are one-handed, even his ultimates that are rushes, he still only uses 1 hand. Everything is one-handed despite him having 2 arms. This is, of course, because of censorship. They have to keep his arm on or the game's rating would jump up to M. The only game where he actually has 1 arm is inside the Dragon Ball Z sagas, and of course the mobile games. Angry Kamehameha. Angry Kamehameha is referring to actually Budokai Tenkaichi 2, in which Goku's super attack is the Angry Kamehameha, while in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, it's actually made his ultimate attack. This is, of course, because in Budokai Tenkaichi 2, there's only 1 form of Goku, and there's no, like, mid, end, and early Goku, so they had to give him the Angry Kamehameha as a super attack instead of an ultimate, despite him in every other game he uses the attack in, it's an ultimate attack. Reuse voice lines. Reuse voice lines is referring to the entire cast of characters inside of Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that have appeared in previous titles. These going all the way back to Budokai 1, where some characters will still reuse voice lines from that game, including Frieza's iconic Ki and Pidgey lines. Super Saiyan 2 Goku. Super Saiyan 2 Goku is referring to Goku and Super Saiyan 2 form, and the fact that it's the same exact thing as his base form. Every one of his attacks are the exact same as his base form, minus his ultimate attack, in which he gets Super Kamehameha instead of Super Spirit Bomb. This is a bit backwards of design because it technically makes you worse when you go Super Saiyan 2 rather than base form. While his Kamehameha does have a unique charge up sound effect, it's still not enough to substitute him not getting like the Meteor Blast or something like that. They really dropped the ball with this form, and something tells me it was a budget issue. Costume viewer. Normally on the character select screen, you cannot see what the costume of the character you're about to select is. The only way you can do this is by going to the encyclopedia feature and actually viewing the costumes there. It's really dumb how you can't see which costume is which on the character select screen, but at least there is a band-aid solution to it. Battle damage Bardock and Raccoon. This is tying into the battle damage entry. Bardock and Raccoon are actually exceptions to that entry. Normally you cannot select battle damage characters, however Bardock and Raccoon for some very strange reason actually can be selected in their battle damage forms by selecting their costume too. This is most likely because they did not have anything else to go on for their second costume, so they just ended up making their battle damage versions their second costume. Namek Goku does have a battle damage costume 3, however it's a unique costume that does not appear even when his other forms get battle damage, so I don't really count it as a battle damage version. However, that costume 3 is the only way you can actually get the Goku that fought Frieza on Namek where he doesn't have his shirt on, and when he gets battle damage in that uniform, his shirt goes completely off, rather than just having like the little blue remnants of his gi there. Secret what if scenarios. We all know the what if scenarios from the Dragon History part of the campaign, of course, however there's actually more. Whenever you play through any mission in the game, you'll notice a little prompt saying to press R3. If you ignore this prompt, you can get some what if scenarios. For example, in the Goku and Vegeta fight, normally when you press R3, Goku and Vegeta will do the Gallic Gun and Kamehameha Beam Clash. However, if you ignore this and keep fighting Vegeta, you can actually kill Vegeta before he even goes Grade Ape and get completely unique dialogue, and what Goku would say if he managed to kill Vegeta before he went Grade Ape.
I won!
This is very cool because of course the dialogue is unique, so this gives this game's story mode a huge amount of replay value, and this goes for every single mission in the game that allows you to press R3. So go wild with this and see what kind of crazy what if scenarios you can cook up, because even if you press R3 once, the battle usually won't end, and if you can kill the enemy after pressing R3 once but not twice, you get even more unique dialogue. All in all, this is an awesome feature. Warp Kamehameha. This is referring to N Goku Super Saiyan transformation, in which his Warp Kamehameha in Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is actually a rush attack and looks a lot different than it does in BT3. While in BT3, it's just a normal Kamehameha in which he teleports to the enemy. I'm not sure which one I like more, but I will say the one in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 has a lot more oomph to it. But the one in Budokai Tenkaichi 2 looks really good as well, at being a rush attack instead of an actual normal beam attack.
Sorry, but I couldn't afford to hold back.
Final Revenger. Like Warp Kamehameha, this attack is a lot different in Budokai Tenkaichi 2 than it is in Budokai Tenkaichi 3. In Budokai Tenkaichi 3, we all know how the attack goes. Bardock grabs the enemy, he punches him, he does a little combo, then he does like the fisticuffs attack at the end. However, in Budokai Tenkaichi 2, when he uses Final Revenger, he actually puts the enemy in a headlock and begins wailing on them while he's in the headlock, and then he follows the attack up like normal in Budokai Tenkaichi 3. This version of the attack is the most badass version of the attack in my opinion, and there's nothing even coming close to it, because there's nothing more cool than putting your enemy in a headlock and going crazy. Bardock unfortunately loses this ability in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, it's only Budokai Tenkaichi 2, and every subsequent game that has the Final Revenger removes the part where he puts the enemy in a headlock, which is very stupid in my opinion. Cell's wrong voice. This is a persistent issue throughout the entirety of Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi, where Perfect Cell will actually use his first form voice when he gets hit. This is due to him having different voice actors in each form, but in the Japanese dub, he has the same voice actor through all the forms. So due to the way the audio files work in the game, this is an issue that cannot be fixed. It is eventually fixed inside of Raging Blast, but we're not at that point, so unfortunately you'll be hearing second form Cell and first form Cell in perfect form Cell. Self-destruct attacks. Self-destruct attacks is referring to characters like Majin and Vegeta, who actually KO themselves in their ultimate attack. These attacks are usually a lot more powerful than normal ultimate attacks, however they leave you with 1 HP. While they don't fully KO you, you pretty much are on the brink of death every single time you use one, but they pack quite a punch and actually put the character in the battle damaged outfit, which is very cool. Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku. Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku is of course referring to Goku GT's second transformation where he goes Super Saiyan 3. When Goku goes Super Saiyan 3 in his GT form, for some reason, unlike his base Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 4 form, Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku has no voice lines, none. He's completely silent every single time he attacks, if he gets hit, if he throws an enemy. The only time Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku will speak is when he transforms into Super Saiyan 4, but other than that, he has no dialogue anywhere else in the game. It's just complete silence when you play as him, which honestly is pretty cool. Incorrect Father-Son Kamehameha. Incorrect Father-Son Kamehameha is referring to Budokai Tenkaichi 3, in which Super Saiyan 2 Gohan launches the Father-Son Kamehameha with 2 hands, and then switches to 1 hand halfway through the attack. This is a problem with all the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games, and all the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi games, and even some of the Raging Blast games. It is amazing to me how this did not occur to them as a problem, but thankfully it gets fixed in all future games. One-hit KO Spirit Bomb. One-hit KO Spirit Bomb is referring to mid-Goku's power-up, which is called Give Me Energy. Charging this up 5 times will allow you to one-shot anybody with the Spirit Bomb attack. Normally, charging this up a few times makes the Spirit Bomb do extra damage. It is not told to you that it does this, but it does, and it is super great for combat, and mid-Goku is a great way to get through some of the game's content, though it is very hard to charge it up all the way, but if you do, you will be able to one-shot anybody.
Promise to give up your evil ways.
Vegeta GT. Vegeta GT is a conspicuous character who is missing from the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 roster. Despite him being in Dragon Ball Z Infinite World, he does not appear anywhere inside of Budokai Tenkaichi 3. You only get Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in this game. Base form Vegeta GT and his Super Saiyan forms are nowhere to be found, which always bothered me as a child and has still bothered me to this day. Boo Piccolo. Like Vegeta GT, he's conspicuously missing from the game's roster despite him being in Budokai 3 and Infinite World. My guess is they either forgot about it, budgetary issues, or the fact they would have to animate a ton of new attacks. Spirit Breaking Cannon. This is very similar to the Final Revenger fact, in which Spirit Breaking Cannon is different in BT2 rather than BT3. In BT3, we all know how the Spirit Breaking Cannon goes. It's the same exact way it goes in all the other games past BT3, including the Raging Blast and Ultimate Tenkaichi games. Spirit Breaking Cannon Budokai Tenkaichi 2, however, is different, because after the last kick, Vegeta will actually fly down and land on the enemy's back with his knee, completely crushing them in. This is a very badass attack like Final Revenger, but it was probably changed like Final Revenger because it's just too brutal. I think it's stupid how they have blood in the game, but they don't have a back-breaking attack like the Spirit Breaking Cannon. It doesn't make sense to me, but oh well. Kaioken. Kaioken is referring to Goku Early's power-up, which allows him to go Kaioken. This is the only transformation in the game that is actually not its own slot. Like Super Saiyan Goku is a completely different character than base Goku, Kaioken is only a power-up, despite being a transformation in other games. This makes Goku Early and Kaioken by default the only power-up that actually transforms the character, as he gets a new portrait and he gets a huge stat increase when he does this ability. Super Saiyan 4 Second Form. Super Saiyan 4 Second Form is referring to Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta's name. It's called Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta's Second Form, despite his Buu saga also being called Second Form. This is weird and inconsistent, because Goku GT in theory should be called Goku GT End, or at least Super Saiyan 4 Goku should be called Goku Super Saiyan 4 End, but he's not. I don't know why he's called Second Form and not Super Saiyan 4 GT. It's most likely a translation error, but it's something that has bugged the hell out of me, and it still does to this day. Redundant saving. This is referring to the game's saving mechanic, in which when you save the game, it works like normal. However, when you save, it asks if you want to overwrite your last save. This makes it so every single time you save your game, you have to save it twice and sit through a really obnoxious loading screen. This is a huge problem with the game that was never fixed in any other versions of the game, and it's something that really kills the pacing for me. This is a very bad part about this game. Destroy the planet. This is referring to Final Form Frieza specifically, and his ultimate attack at that. It's called Destroy the Planet. If you don't know, various attacks inside of Budokai Tenkaichi 3 can actually destroy the planet. However, destroying the planet with this attack is impossible. Even on the Namek stage, you cannot destroy the planet. What I once thought was a translation issue is most likely an oversight by the developers, because an attack called Destroy the Planet you would think would be able to destroy the planet, but it can't. And it literally destroys the planet in the show, so it doesn't make sense that it can't. Once again, it's most likely an oversight. Halo. This is referring to the story mode of the game, in which Goku and Vegeta are seen wearing halos in some story missions. It was thought to be unplayable to be able to use these variants. However, you can actually equip an item called Halo, which gives Goku and Second Form Vegeta the actual ability to be able to use the halos in combat in other game modes, which is really cool. Nappa's Scouter. Inside of Budokai Tenkaichi 1, Nappa had a Scouter one. However, when Budokai Tenkaichi 2 came out, he lost his Scouter, and in BT3. You might argue, this is because he never fought with a Scouter. That's fair. But nor did Vegeta. Vegeta never fought with a Scouter either, but he keeps his Scouter in BT2 and 3. So what's the deal with Vegeta having a Scouter but not Nappa? Nappa should have the Scouter, or Vegeta should lose his Scouter, because now the three Saiyans are inconsistent, and it bothers the hell out of me. It bothered me as a child, and it bothers me now. Disc Fusion. It's no secret to anybody that there's two versions of BT3, the Wii and PS2 version. However, the PS2 version has some unique features that the Wii version doesn't have, and vice versa. Disc Fusion is the unique feature for BT2, in which it actually unlocks more game modes for the Ultimate Battle mode. Ultimate Battle being a huge gauntlet against various enemies, and many fights having different gimmicks to spice up combat a little bit. Disc Fusion is nothing compared to the Pro that the Wii version of BT3 has, but it's still a very cool feature nonetheless. Ginyu Body Change. Ginyu Body Change is referring to Ginyu's ultimate attack called Body Change. In BT1, you would just swap bodies with whoever you're fighting with. However, in BT2 and 3, it's a bit different. Ginyu will actually kick the enemy away, and he will actually use his Scouter to go look for someone else. He'll pick a character at random who fought on Namek, those being Goku, Vegeta, Jace, Nail, or Frieza. Not only does he have one of 5 characters he can choose, these one of 5 characters are completely unique, but they don't have any super attacks. And not only that, all their stats are completely gimped. I don't know what they were thinking when making this ultimate attack, and it's not like the kick that Ginyu does any damage. It does a very minuscule amount of damage, so it doesn't make sense to ever use this ultimate attack, as it literally gimps the character. The only thing, of course, that's cool is his voice line still being the same, and having a taunt and a windscreen. Other than that, there's no reason to ever transform with Ginyu and use his ult, which is really stupid design. Action Replay. Action Replay is referring to old cheat devices that used to be made for old games, and games on the Wii as well. What the cheats for this game would do would be, of course, allow you to use standard cheats like infinite health and all that, but you also had another feature in which you could actually use the Red Patara items to put on the normal characters in the game. These items that Red Patara characters carry are actual items you can equip if you get access to them. So you can literally make Red Patara characters normal roster characters and use them in other game modes. This was very overpowered, and it's something cool for setting up fun versus matches, but it's not really practical or fun to be able to use all these overpowered abilities in normal combat and other game modes. Removal of cutscenes. As I was talking about with Nappa's Scouter entry, Vegeta in a cutscene in Budokai Tenkaichi 2 did not have a Scouter. And yes, I said cutscene. In Budokai Tenkaichi 2, there were many cutscenes for some of the most iconic fights in Dragon Ball Z history made at the time, for Budokai Tenkaichi 2 specifically, that did not get ported over to BT3 for some reason. Some of these cutscenes looked amazing, and it doesn't make any sense why they're not here. They had a lot of fun dialogue, and they had a lot of personality to them. And what's even more crazy is the dialogue used for these cutscenes are actually reused in Budokai Tenkaichi 3's story mode.
You should be pleased. A low-class warrior like you seldom gets to play with an elite like me. All Saiyans are inspected for their combat skills at birth. And you were thrown out with the rest of the trash.
And that's how I wound up coming to Earth, right? I should be grateful. Besides, with enough hard work, even a low class can surpass an elite.
You should be pleased. A low-class warrior like you seldom gets to play with an elite like me. All Saiyans are inspected for their combat skills at birth. And you were thrown out with the rest of the trash.
And that's how I wound up coming to Earth, right? I should be grateful. Besides, with enough hard work, even a low class can surpass an elite.
So it doesn't make sense why the cutscenes weren't ported over. It couldn't be because of memory limitations. This game has literally 150 plus characters. They could have booted one of them to put these cutscenes back in. In my opinion, that would have been a great change. PS2 and Wii differences. Of course I was talking about PS2 having disc fusion. Well, the Wii actually has online connectivity in which you can battle people across the world. It definitely wasn't the most stable way of fighting, and the lag was unbearable, but it was still really cool to be able to fight people around the world and play BT3 online. And this game has a really high skill ceiling, so you could really put your skills to the test on there. Unfortunately, the servers were closed in 2013 if I'm not mistaken, so you can no longer play online, but it really wasn't the best experience ever, and Budokai Tenkaichi 4 will most likely have a kick-ass online. That'll put BT3's to shame, but BT3's online mode was an ambitious jump, and being on the Wii, I think it did a great job. Translation errors. Translation errors referring to many attacks inside of Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that retain their Japanese translated names, for example the Shao Makahu and the Shao Makasen, and then Gohan Shao Meru Sugeki, which I definitely butchered. These attacks have English translations, however, they are not actually called the attack that they should be. They're still in their Japanese format. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it comes off as a translation problem to me. Kaioken Finish. Kaioken Finish is referring to Budokai Tenkaichi 2 again, in which Goku's Kaioken attack, which he has in BT3, was actually replaced with the Kaioken Finish, in which he defeated Nappa with. In Budokai Tenkaichi 3, it's replaced with the Kaioken attack he does against Vegeta. This is strange, because I really like the Kaioken Finish animation, and I feel like it would have served very well to be inside of BT3. If you don't know, Hercule in this game has an attack called Dynamic Mess 'em Up Punch, which has a 50-50 shot of doing damage. My proposition for getting this attack in the game was making Kaioken attack and Kaioken Finish a 50-50 shot of being used to having the same damage. So it'd be two different super attacks that do the same damage, but it'd be a little bit of spice and make Goku early even more unique than he already was. Angry Kamehameha, wrong color. This is referring to, of course, Goku's Angry Kamehameha again, in which in BT2 and 3, the attack is actually blue instead of yellow. And even when they reported the attack to be an ultimate and making new animations for it, they never actually changed the color of the attack to be yellow. This is a really big inconsistency, and this is something that the games have struggled with badly. In Budokai 1, all the Kamehamehas were yellow for some reason, and then in the Special Beam Cannon in those games was completely purple. They fixed the Special Beam Cannon in these games, but they didn't fix the Angry Kamehameha. I don't understand why this happened or how this got through testing, but the attack still looks sick, so it's not the biggest deal ever.
Give up your evil ways, Frieza. For your sake, I hope we never meet again.
Omega 2040. Omega 2040 is referring to an old YouTuber who used to upload videos about the Budokai series and the Budokai Tenkaichi series and pretty much every game all the way up until Xenoverse 2. In recent years, of course, he stopped uploading. Back in the day, this was pretty much the only content creator that was really making active videos as much as this guy did. He made top 10s, he made reviews, he made moveset videos for various games, he gave his opinions on various games as well. He was pretty much a one-stop shop for anything Dragon Ball related. Unfortunately, when Xenoverse 2 came out, he pretty much stopped uploading completely until BT4 was announced about 7 years later, and then he actually came back and made another video. I'm happy to report, of course, all his fans were extremely happy to see him come back, and I was as well, because I still go back and watch Omega's videos from time to time, and to see he's uploading again is very good. I hope he comes back with BT4 and makes even more awesome content. BT3 Online Battles. This is of course referring to the game's online connectivity, however there's a huge problem with the online connectivity other than the lag. The game's cheaters were unbelievably bad. There are so many videos on people exposing cheaters and literally making compilations of cheaters and stuff like that. It was a mess, and one of the reasons BT3's online mode was so bad, and probably one of the reasons it was shut down. This is of course because of the action replays existing, and there being no anti-cheat to prevent these cheaters from going online, or any checks and balances in place to be able to stop the cheaters. Hopefully BT4's online is nowhere near as bad as BT3's was. Light Scouter. This is referring to the Wii version of Budokai Tenkaichi 3, in which the graphics in that game are a little lighter than they are on the PS2. This is causing the Scouters to look a lot different on the Wii version rather than on the PS2 version. So this is a way you can tell which version somebody's playing with without actually looking at the version they're playing by using the button icons. And because of this, I think this is probably one of the reasons maybe someone out there likes the Wii version more because the graphics are a little bit different. And I think it is something nice that makes the game stick out a little bit. Power-up nerfs. Referring to attacks that allow you to go high tension instantly. Things like power up to the very limit, Majin's Awakening, and attacks like that that put you in max power. When the max power runs out, however, your stats are completely nuked, and you cannot even charge your ki normally without it regenerating by natural means. This is a problem because the only way to remove this status quo is by actually charging your ki back to max power, but since you charge so slow, it's really hard to get there. I think it's a great risk-reward type of attack, but I feel like it could have been done a lot better. The Devil Might Beam. This is referring to Devilman and his ultimate attack called the Devil Might Beam. The Devil Might Beam is unique in the fact that if it attacks a villain character, it'll one-shot them no matter the health. However, if it attacks a character like Goku, it'll do 0 damage. The characters who have pure hearts don't take damage from this attack. However, villains like Broly will get one-shot from the attack from any health. This is a very unique ultimate that has its own mission made about it, so you can actually test it out in that mission. This makes Devilman an extremely unique character, and is just another reason this game is so memorable, for having little things like this in the game. Great Ape Fascia. Following up the Devilman and his unique attacks, we actually have Fascia, who is the only giant ape character in the game with a rush attack. No other great apes in the games have rush attacks. In fact, they all share the same moves pretty much, those being the Shao Maku-Hu, the Shao Maku-Sen, and the giant rock throws. They all pretty much have variations of those attacks. However, Giant Ape Fascia actually has a rush attack as her ultimate. No other apes in the game have this, and makes Great Ape Fascia stick out from the crowd. And just once again, is another reason this game is very memorable. Kaiken Kamehameha. The Kaiken Kamehameha is referring to mid-Goku super attack, where he does the 20 times Kaioken Kamehameha, in which he actually goes Kaioken because you can see his portrait change, and then shoots the Kamehameha, the one he shot at Frieza. However, a keen eye will notice that the attack name is actually spelled Kaiken instead of Kaioken Kamehameha. Out of all the characters in this game, they had to get a typo on mid-Goku. I don't understand how that happened. One of the most iconic characters in the series, one of the most iconic fights has a typo. Super Garlic Gun. This is referring to Budokai Tenkaichi 2 specifically, in which Great Ape Vegeta's ultimate attack is the Super Garlic Gun. However, it's actually misspelled as the Super Garlic Gun. This is corrected in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but is a hilarious oversight similar to the Kaiken Kamehameha. I Might Die This Time. This is referring to Final Form Frieza's super attack, in which it should be called You Might Die This Time. It's a typo once again like mid-Goku. However, this one is a bit more noticeable and something I noticed as soon as I saw this Frieza for the first time. I always actually thought that the attack was called this, and it always bothered me. It didn't sound right. I might die this time, but you're using the attack. Does the attack like hurt you or something? No, it's just a typo, but it's a very funny one at that. Tora. This is referring to Budokai Tenkaichi 2's leaked screenshot of Tora being on the character select screen with his own portrait, his own name, and everything. Nowadays, this would be brushed to the side. However, the time this was made, it was in like 2006 or 7, so it looked extremely convincing because there's no things like Photoshop or the advanced technologies of photo editing to this day. But the render looks so good, so does the name, that this has to be real, and Tora had to have been scrapped in development. If you guys know anything else about this entry, please let me know in the comments. But as far as I know, this is definitely real. It is mainly a myth because there's no confirmation it's real, but look at it, dude. It looks so real. And because of the time it was made, saying Photoshop doesn't really hold up as well. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Iceberg. I hope you guys enjoyed a lot, because I had a lot of fun making this iceberg. Playing through Budokai Tenkaichi 3 again and reliving a ton of these entries is very fun, and I love Budokai Tenkaichi 3, and I cannot wait for Budokai Tenkaichi 4 to come out. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about any of the entries on this list, if you want to add any entries yourself, if you have any theories on existing entries, of course, feel free to leave a comment. But guys, I'm all out of time for today. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good night, everybody. Super Saiyan 5 Gogeta. Super Saiyan 5 Gogeta is referring to Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's second costume, in which he has white hair. This was always referred to as Super Saiyan 5, or the mythical Super Saiyan 5 way back in the day. As if you look at Super Saiyan 5 illustrations of fans' perception of the form, they all have white hair and look very similar to Gogeta's second costume. So it was always speculated that Gogeta's second costume was Super Saiyan 5. This costume made an appearance in all the Tenkaichi games, it made an appearance in all the Budokai games that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was in, and it also made an appearance in Ultimate Tenkaichi, which Ultimate Tenkaichi is the last game this costume has made an appearance in. It has not returned since. Even in Xenoverse 2's partner customization, you cannot make this form of Gogeta. I'm hoping in Budokai Tenkaichi 4 this costume comes back, because this is one badass costume, and is one of my favorite parts of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in the old games.
That's the end of you. Goodbye, Shenron.